Some people only realize your value when your silence becomes louder than your presence. Let that hit for a second, my friends, because this one's for the givers, the loyal ones, the consistent souls who showed up again and again, even when it cost them their peace. You tried, you stayed, you reached, not once, not twice, but through every red flag you tried to turn into a reason, through every dry reply, every cold shoulder, every game they thought you'd keep playing. You gave love like it was oxygen, and they held their breath like they didn't need it. Until one day, you stopped offering it. You didn't leave with fireworks. You didn't post a dramatic goodbye. You didn't try to prove a point. You just left, calm, clear, gone. And that's the moment they felt it. Not when you walked away, but when they realized you're not walking back. See, folks, there's a dangerous lie this world teaches us, that the one who stays, chases, and pleads is the one who truly cares. That loyalty means sticking around until you bleed. But let me break that right now. Loyalty without reciprocity is self-abandonment. And my friends, you were never created to shrink so someone else could feel tall. Let me give you a metaphor that'll stay with you. You were like a lamp in a dark room, always shining, always there. And they got so used to the light, they stopped noticing it, never thanked it, never protected it. They thought, it'll always be there. Then one day, the bulb burned out. You took your glow, your warmth, your presence, and placed it somewhere it would actually be appreciated. And now, that room is cold, it's quiet, it's empty. And they miss the light, but they forgot how to treat it when they had it. You ever notice how people act like nothing happened, but their eyes say everything? That fake smile, the random check-in text, the accidental like on your story. That's regret in disguise. That's their guilt wearing a costume. And here's the twist, they won't admit it. They won't say they miss you, because their ego is louder than their heart. But don't be fooled. Regret is loud in silence. As Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one. And in your case, stop arguing what love should feel like. Live it. You've already proven your heart. You've already given your all, and now you rise, you glow, you disappear into peace so powerful it echoes where your name used to live. And let's keep it real. This isn't about revenge. This isn't about making them regret. That's just a side effect of leveling up. The goal here isn't to be missed. It's to be free. You were never the problem. You were the lesson. And some people don't learn until the teacher's gone. So laugh again. Heal out loud. Fall in love with your own life so deeply that no ghost from the past can haunt it. Build something so beautiful that even the ones who hurt you pause and whisper, "Damn, I had that." Say it with me right now. Too late for them. Write it in the comments. Say it loud. Say it proud. Smash that like button if this hit you right in the chest. Subscribe for more like this, and stay with me, because we're just getting started. Number 1, you weren't rejected. You were revealed. It is not death that a man should fear, but never beginning to live. Marcus Aurelius. My friends, that quote right there isn't just about life. It's about love, too. It's about all the things we let die while we're still breathing, all the chances we miss while we're still hoping, and all the people who think they're rejecting you, when really they're just running from themselves. You weren't rejected. You were revealed. They didn't look at you and say, "You're not enough." No. What really happened? They looked at something too real, too deep, too raw, and flinched. Because the truth is, most people don't reject you. They reject the mirror you hold up, and that mirror, it showed them everything they weren't ready to deal with. Imagine this. You're a rare painting, one of one, timeless, layered with depth. But instead of hanging you in the center of the room, where light hits you just right, where your colors can breathe, they stuffed you in a basement, dust collecting, light fading. And every time someone walked past, they shrugged and said, "It's nice, I guess." They never looked. They never saw. Then one day someone came along, someone with vision, and took that painting, cleaned it, framed it, showcased it, and suddenly that same person who tossed you aside is crying at the gallery door, saying, "I didn't know it was that beautiful." But now, it's too late, because it's not in the basement anymore. It's not within reach. It's not for sale. And I know what you're thinking. I know the fear. It creeps in, whispering questions like, "Why wasn't I enough? What if I just tried harder? Was it something I lacked? What if they don't come back?" That fear isn't weakness. That's just your heart doing what it does, searching for reason in the middle of chaos. But let's break that lie right now. You weren't too much. They were too small. And you can't shrink your soul just to fit someone's limited vision. Here's the kicker. Our minds are wired to obsess over what went unfulfilled. The brain replays missed chances louder than the ones taken. And when you're the missed chance, you become the echo in their silence. The one that doesn't fade. The one they try to replace over and over with distractions, rebounds, and temporary people who never measure up. But you were the real deal. And real doesn't just walk in every day. But I get it. It's hard to believe that when you're sitting alone, staring at your phone, waiting for a message that never comes. It's hard to feel like a masterpiece when you've been treated like a sketch. It's hard to feel chosen when you've only felt optional. That's where the pain lives, in the gap between who you know you are and how they made you feel. Let me drop another truth. People only see what they're ready to see. You could offer love wrapped in gold, in loyalty, in patience, and if their eyes are closed, they'll still fumble it. It's not your packaging, it's their blindness. But here's where the power flips. The rejection you thought was about your worth. It was never about you. It was about them, their fear of intimacy, their emotional immaturity, their inability to recognize value when it doesn't come with drama or chase or broken pieces. You were consistent, you were steady, you were available. And because you weren't chaos, they thought you were boring. But now that you're gone, their world is chaos. And suddenly, your peace, it looks like paradise. You see, folks, rejection isn't a closed door, it's a spotlight. It shows you who's not ready, who's not aligned, who's not worthy of the version of you that shows up whole. And if you're lucky, it shows you early, before you waste more time trying to convince someone to see you while they're too busy looking elsewhere. Let them go. Let them regret. Let them scroll through old photos, wondering how they fumbled someone who gave them everything. Because here's the truth they won't tell you out loud. They do think about you. In the quiet, in the late-night scrolls, in the good morning texts that don't hit the same, in the moments they laugh but look around for you to share it with, and realize you're no longer there. And now they don't miss just you. They miss who they were with you. That peace, that joy, that safety. But it's too late. Not because you hate them, not because you're bitter, but because you finally started living. So rise, fully. Stop waiting for them to see your worth and start showing yourself. Because when you realize you were never the problem, you stop begging to be the solution. They didn't reject you. They revealed themselves. And now, you know. Say this with me. I was the masterpiece. Write it in the comments. Say it loud. Say it proud. Show yourself. Show the world. Smash that like button if this spoke truth to your soul. Hit that subscribe if you're done letting people define your value by their blindness. And stay with me, because next we're about to talk about what happens when they thought you'd wait forever, but you were already building a life without them. Number 2, they cheated, ghosted, ignored, and thought you'd wait. Don't mistake my silence for absence. I just got tired of repeating myself to someone who stopped listening. My friends, let's talk about what really happened. They cheated, they ghosted, they ignored your messages, your effort, your presence, and somehow still believed you'd always be there. They thought you'd wait for their confusion to clear, wait for their ego to grow up, wait for them to come back when it was convenient. That's the lie they told themselves. And you believed in something real, so you stayed. For a while. But let's break it down right now. Familiarity breeds delusion. When someone has access to you every day, your energy, your time, your love, they start thinking it's free. They start believing you'll always answer, that you'll always check in, that no matter how far they push, you'll snap back like a rubber band. But love isn't elastic, folks. It snaps. And when it does, that's not tension. It's a boundary, a final one. They got used to you chasing, used to you showing up even when they didn't deserve it. They read your kindness as naivety, your loyalty as desperation, your forgiveness as permission. But here's what they didn't understand. You weren't desperate. You were devoted. And devotion, when disrespected enough times, turns into detachment, quietly, permanently. Let me give you a picture. Imagine someone sitting on top of a gold mine. Not just any mine, but one packed with rare, priceless gems. But instead of digging deeper, instead of protecting what they found, they wandered off to look for shiny pebbles on the surface. Cheap thrills, easy attention, temporary highs. Then one day, they come back to the mine, thinking it's still open. But the ground's been sealed, the gates are locked, and now they're stuck outside, realizing they traded treasure for trash. That's you. You were the gold mine. You were the real thing. And they treated you like you were common until they couldn't access you anymore. And now the silence is louder than anything you ever said. Now your absence has weight. Now they're scrolling through old texts, trying to find the version of you that would have forgiven this mess one more time. But that version is gone, grown, healed, unavailable. And yeah, you'll start to notice it. The random "hey" message, the old selfie they suddenly like, the little emoji reactions. They think they're subtle. They think you don't see through it. But we see it for what it is: panic. Panic disguised as curiosity. Regret disguised as just checking in. And here's the wild part. They still don't apologize. They still don't take real accountability, because their pride is louder than their pain. But their silence, it's cracking, slowly. And it's filled with your name. You want to know why this hurts them more now? Because they thought you were safe. Safe to mistreat. Safe to disrespect. Safe to return to. But you weren't a motel. You were a home. And once you took the key back, they realized nothing else feels like you. Let's get into the psychology of it. The human brain attaches deeper to what it can't fully predict or possess. What's always available gets taken for granted, but the moment it's gone, fully gone, it activates the regret loop, the what-if reel, the sleepless nights, the flashbacks, the mental edits to the past where they try to make themselves the victim. But truth doesn't need edits. It stands as is. They thought you were soft forever, but you were just patient. And now that the patience ran out, they're learning the cost of losing someone who gave them everything. And look, I know it hurts. I know part of you still wonders if maybe you should respond. Maybe give them closure, one last explanation. But let me remind you, they made their choice. Every ignored message, every broken promise, every time they chose a temporary thrill over your steady presence. That was the closure. You were just too loving to see it in the moment. But now you're done, and not bitter, just better. So keep shining, keep growing, keep building the life they were too blind to be part of. Let your silence be your power, let your peace be the punishment. And if they ever do come back, remember, you're not that same person. You're not waiting anymore. You're walking. Say this with me. I sealed the mine. Write it in the comments right now. Say it loud. Say it proud. Show yourself. Show the world. Press that like button if you feel the shift inside you. Hit that subscribe, because next, we're diving into the truth behind their fake smiles and forced happiness, and why they're not okay, even if they pretend they are. Stay with me. We're just getting started. Number 3, they're not okay. They just look it. The loudest smiles often hide the quietest cries. Let that sink in, my friends, because some people, when they lose you, don't fall apart in public. They perform. They dress the wound with designer clothes, captioned quotes, vacation selfies, and forced laughter in loud places. But what they don't tell you, what they'll never post, is how quiet the nights get. How heavy silence feels when there's no one left to distract them from the truth. They're not okay. They just look like they are. See, folks, regret has a strange way of showing up. It's not always in tearful apologies or long confession texts. No, most of the time it hides behind highlights, behind "I'm doing great," behind new beginnings and gym selfies. But beneath the glow-up is a breakdown. Beneath the confidence is confusion. They're not healing, they're hiding. Imagine someone falling into deep water. Instead of calling for help, they throw on a mask and wave to the crowd on the shore like it's all good. That's them, drowning in silence, but performing joy like it's a show. And the applause they chase, it's empty, because they know the only one who really saw them was you. They post stories, but your name is still in their mind. They go on dates, but none of those people know their triggers, their fears, their soft spots like you did. They laugh louder, but that laugh dies fast when the crowd leaves. And when it's quiet, that's when the mask cracks. That's when your absence doesn't feel like peace. It feels like loss. Let's talk real psychology for a second. When you suppress emotion, when you avoid grief, guilt, or deep regret, it doesn't vanish. It goes underground. It seeps into the nervous system. That's why they're restless. That's why they snap easily. That's why no matter how many distractions they stack, they still feel off. Because their body remembers what their ego tries to forget. You. Insomnia, agitation, constant scrolling, overworking, partying too much. These aren't signs of healing. These are signs of someone trying not to feel. And the reason they can't fully move on, because you weren't just a chapter, they were writing the story with you in mind. They just didn't realize you were the plot until they lost the book. And listen, I know how this feels on your side. You're watching from a distance. You see the posts, the filtered happiness, the glowing without me energy, and part of you wonders, did I even matter? How can they move on so fast? Were they ever really hurt? Let me answer that for you. Yes, you mattered. More than they let on, more than they'll admit. But they're not showing pain because pain would mean accountability. Pain would mean facing what they threw away. And not everyone is brave enough to look in that mirror. Because you weren't just love, you were truth. And truth stings when you're not ready to own it. You want to know when they miss you most. When the party's over. when the music fades, when no one's asking them for selfies or shots, when they lay in bed at 2 a.m. and the only voice left in their head is yours. Not the voice that begged, not the voice that broke, but the voice that brought them peace. The one that asked them how they really felt, the one that remembered their little quirks, the one that stayed until you couldn't anymore. And that, my friends, is when they spiral. Not because you did anything, but because your absence became a mirror, a reflection of who they were with you and who they've fallen back into without you. But let me remind you, it's not your job to save them now. You gave them your heart, your time, your grace, and they chose to learn through loss. So don't let their highlight reel fool you. Healing isn't what they're doing, it's what you're doing. While they're busy performing, you're evolving. While they're chasing distractions, you're building peace. While they're stuck in loops, you're rewriting your future. So hold your head high. You're not forgotten, you're unforgettable. And you don't need validation from someone still figuring out what they lost. Say this with me. Their smile doesn't fool me. Write it in the comments. Say it loud. Say it proud. Show yourself. Show the world. Hit that like button if you've ever had to smile through your own storm, and subscribe if you're done letting other people's masks make you question your truth. And stay with me, because next, we're going deeper into how your absence became their standard and why no one else can match it. Number 4. You became the standard, now no one compares. When you've tasted real, everything else feels artificial. Let that truth sit in your soul for a moment, my friends. Because what they're realizing now, slowly, painfully, silently, is that you weren't just someone they dated. You were the blueprint, the measuring stick, the benchmark they didn't appreciate until they tried to replicate it and failed again and again. They're not just missing you, they're comparing everyone else to you. You became the standard. See, people say they want something new, a fresh start, a clean slate. But here's the truth no one talks about. They don't crave new. They crave familiar with depth. They want comfort wrapped in excitement, safety dressed as spark. And that, my friends, is rare. That was you. You gave them peace and passion, laughter and grounding, patience and presence. You were the one who remembered their coffee order, the one who noticed the shift in their voice before they even knew they were upset, the one who knew when to hype them up and when to hold them in silence. You were their home, but they didn't know what they had. Now they're out there. Dating apps, rebounds. Let's just see where it goes. Situationships. Tasting fast food relationships when they once had a slow-cooked soul meal. Microwave connections with no nutritional value, and no matter how good it looks on the surface, nothing hits like you did. Because surface gets old fast. But depth haunts. Here's the psychological angle. Dopamine is a quick fix. It spikes when there's novelty, thrill, attention, but it fades just as quickly. And what remains? Emotional safety, emotional intelligence, understanding. That's what sticks. That's what creates bonding. And you didn't give them sugar highs. You gave them soul steadiness. So now, every smile gets compared to yours. Every text gets held up to the way you used to check in. Every laugh feels a little more hollow because you're not the one it's shared with. And they won't say it out loud because that would mean admitting they fumbled. But they know. Deep down, in places they don't let people see, they know. It's not that others are bad. It's that they're not you. Let me drop a metaphor on you. Imagine they used to dine at a 5-star restaurant every night. Ambience, flavor, attention to detail. But one day, they got bored, thought they'd try a food truck. And now they're eating greasy fries in a parking lot, pretending it's the same. It's not. And every bite reminds them what they gave up. And here's where it gets good. You're not even competing. You're not trying to outshine their new thing. You're just living, glowing, growing. And that makes the comparison even worse, because they see you moving on, leveling up, becoming harder to reach and impossible to replace. They thought you'd be easy to forget, that you'd fade quietly while they explored better options. But what they found was noise, not depth, distraction, not connection, because you weren't an option. You were the standard, the bar they can't raise themselves to anymore. And the worst part, they know they had you, that they were chosen, that they were loved fully, and they threw it away thinking they could find the same magic in another person with less effort. But your kind of energy doesn't show up twice. Your kind of love doesn't get duplicated. Your kind of loyalty doesn't beg to be seen. It disappears and leaves a shadow they can't unsee. So keep rising, keep healing. Let them search, let them try. Let them convince themselves that the next person will feel the same until they hit the wall where your energy used to live. Until they scroll through messages and realize, this isn't it. Because while they're chasing quantity, you're becoming quality that no one else can match. Say it with me. I am the standard. Write it in the comments right now. Say it loud. Say it proud. Show yourself. Show the world. Smash that like button if you've ever been the one they tried to replace, and hit that subscribe. Because next, we're diving into why you don't need to chase closure. Because you became it. Stay with me. The truth only gets deeper from here. Number 5. You're not chasing closure. You are the closure. You don't owe an explanation to someone who made you question your worth in the first place. My friends, let's set the record straight. You don't need closure from someone who slammed the door, walked away, and expected you to keep standing there waiting for answers. You don't need their words, their apologies, their sudden moments of guilt where they remember you existed. You don't need one more conversation. You are the closure. Let that hit. Because when someone mishandles you, ghosts you, cheats on you, pushes you away while you were trying to love them, you don't owe them a summary of your healing. You don't have to explain why you stopped showing up, why your name stopped appearing in their notifications, why you didn't respond to that, "Hey, just checking in" message. That silence, that was the answer. That was the storm they didn't expect and couldn't prepare for. See, the world teaches us this lie, that closure is this beautifully wrapped conversation, a handshake, maybe even a final hug. That's nonsense. Closure isn't mutual. Closure isn't owed. And most of all, closure doesn't come from them. It comes from you. From realizing that the same person who hurt you can't also be the one who heals you. You want psychology? Let's go there. The human brain is wired to resolve open loops. It craves conclusions, endings, reasons. That's why ghosting hits hard. That's why silence feels sharp. Because when there's no explanation, the mind starts filling in the blanks. And the one who left you in silence, they start spiraling in it. Your unanswered text becomes a mirror. Your absence becomes weight. And every attempt they make to reconnect that goes unanswered, it starts echoing louder than any breakup speech ever could. And you? You used to need answers. You used to stay up at night thinking, why did they leave? What did I do wrong? Should I have fought harder? Should I have said more? But now you know the truth. The closure isn't in the words they never said. It's in the growth they'll never see. It's in the peace you chose over chaos. The boundaries you built when they were still playing with your feelings like it was a game. It's in the glow-up, the silence, the not checking their page, the not caring about their new person. That's the kind of closure that hits harder than any conversation ever could. Let me give you a metaphor. You didn't write a final chapter. You became the blank page they keep flipping back to, rereading, reimagining, wondering what the ending could have been if they had just treated you better. And that's the ache they carry, not because you yelled, not because you slammed doors, but because you disappeared with dignity. You left with your head held high, no begging, no explaining, just peace. You ever hear that line, "No response is a response"? It's real and it's powerful, because silence speaks the loudest when it's coming from someone who used to move mountains just to make them feel seen. You gave them your voice for so long. Now your absence is louder than anything you ever said. And here's the part that stings them. They expected you to come back. They thought you'd crack, that the silence was temporary, that eventually you'd need closure too. But every day that passes without your name in their inbox, without your energy circling back into their life, that's another nail in the coffin of their illusion. They realize this is it. Not a pause, not a timeout. This is done. So no, you're not chasing closure anymore. You're walking in it, living in it, breathing in it. Your peace is the ending. And the best part, you didn't slam the door, you didn't lock it, you just stopped holding it open, and they didn't walk through when they had the chance. Say it with me. I am the closure. Write it in the comments. Say it loud. Say it proud. Show yourself. Show the world. Press that like button if you've ever closed the door in silence and found peace on the other side. Hit that subscribe, because next, we're stepping into a truth even deeper. How you were their safe place. And now, without you, they're emotionally homeless. Stay with me. This story's just getting stronger. Number 6. You were their safe space. Now they're emotionally homeless. They didn't just lose you. They lost the only place that ever felt like home. Let that one hit, my friends. Because this isn't just about love or attraction. This isn't about someone missing your face, your voice, or the way you made them laugh. This is about emotional safety. The peace you gave them in a world that never stops screaming. The calm you brought when everything else in their life was chaotic, confusing, or collapsing. You weren't just a partner. You were their safe space. And now, they're emotionally homeless, and it's a storm out there. See? The world's loud. Constant scrolling, shallow connections, fake chemistry on repeat. Everybody wants attention, nobody wants depth. And in all that noise, you were silence. Not silence in the empty way, but silence in the sacred way. A space where they could breathe, unmask, be raw, say the messy things and not feel judged. You didn't just listen to their words, you felt them. You made them feel seen in ways even they didn't understand. And that kind of connection, you don't replace it. You remember it. Now they're out there, maybe with someone new, maybe trying to play it cool, but deep inside, something's wrong. Office unsettled. Because those laughs don't reach the soul. The new attention feels more like noise than nourishment. They post, they party, they talk big. But when the lights go out and the room gets quiet, that's when they feel it. That's when the emptiness creeps in, because you were the fireplace. And now they're shivering with no matches left. Here's the thing, folks. Emotional security bonds deeper than physical attraction. That's a psychological fact. The human nervous system responds more strongly to safety than it does to excitement. And while they were chasing sparks, they forgot that fire burns out without a hearth to hold it. You were that hearth. You were the steady flame that kept their inner chaos from swallowing them whole. But here's where the real shift happened. They didn't value it while they had it. Because when people get used to safety, they start craving chaos again, until they realize the chaos never cared about them. And now they miss you. Not for the memories, not even for the love, but for the stability, the knowing, the emotional freedom they had when they were with you. They try to find that same energy again, but it's just not there. Other people smile but don't see them. Other hands touch but don't anchor. Other conversations feel long but go nowhere. Because you weren't just good vibes, you were a sanctuary. And that kind of presence? It's rare. It's sacred. It doesn't get duplicated by someone who just slid into their DMS last week. And let's not pretend it's easy for you either. Being someone's safe space is a heavy role, because while you were pouring into them, holding them, healing them, who was holding you? Who made you feel safe? That's why it hurt so bad when they walked away like it was nothing, because you gave them something they didn't even know how to ask for, and they treated it like a trend. But now you've outgrown their noise. You're building your own peace. You've become your own safe space. And while they're still out there searching, scrolling, spiraling, you're healing, you're glowing. You're learning that being a soft place for someone else doesn't mean you make yourself small again. So let them search. Let them feel the difference. Let them wake up next to someone who checks all the boxes but doesn't check their soul. Let them remember you in the silence, in the stillness, in the chaos they thought they wanted. Because they didn't just lose love. They lost home. And home doesn't just get rebuilt with anyone. Say this with me: I was the safe space. Write it in the comments right now. Say it loud. Say it proud. Show yourself. Show the world. Smash that like button if you've ever been the calm in someone's storm, and hit that subscribe if you're done being the shelter for people who couldn't handle the roof. And stay with me, because next we're stepping into your power even deeper. It's time to talk about how you didn't change to hurt them. You healed to free yourself. Number 7, you didn't change to hurt them. You healed to free yourself. Sometimes the best revenge is no revenge at all, just moving on and never looking back. Let's get this straight, my friends. You didn't change to hurt them. You didn't level up to trigger regret. You didn't glow, grow, and go silent just to make them watch. That wasn't the plan. That was the consequence. Because healing isn't revenge. It's resurrection. It's the art of reclaiming yourself from the mess someone else left behind. And when you do it right, when you stop showing up, stop over-explaining, stop shrinking to be digestible for people who were never ready to sit at your table, they feel it, hard. They think you're being cold, distant, different. But the truth is, you just got clear, and clarity feels like cruelty to people who benefited from your confusion. They say you switched up, but really, you just stopped choosing them over your own peace. You stopped lighting yourself on fire to keep their emotional winters warm. You stopped waiting for them to finally treat you like they should have when they had you. And here's the wild part. You didn't slam the door. You didn't throw a tantrum, post breakup quotes, or start drama for likes. No, you just left. Gracefully, quietly, intentionally. And that's what hit them the hardest. You didn't disappear in anger. You evolved in silence. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine they were used to walking through the same front door, your heart, day after day. No knocking, no respect, just coming and going as they pleased. But one day they come back, and the door's not just closed. It's gone. There's no handle, no welcome mat, no house even. You rebuilt. Somewhere else. Bigger, brighter, and most importantly, gated. They're still standing where the house used to be, holding the old key like it means something. But you built a whole new life, and they don't have access to it anymore, because the version of you they knew, the one who tolerated the bare minimum, who forgave the lies, who made excuses for disrespect, is gone. That person had to die for this new version to be born. And here's the psychological hit. When you grow, you force people to face their stagnancy. When you evolve, it puts pressure on the people who thought they had time. Your healing doesn't just free you, it confronts them. Without saying a single word, your progress calls out their patterns. Your silence exposes their noise. Your peace reminds them what they lost while they were too distracted to care. But I get it. There's still a voice inside you that wonders, was I too harsh? Should I have explained more? Will they think I stopped caring? And that voice, that's your old self, the one who still thought love was proving your worth, the one who thought closure came from conversations. But not anymore. Now you understand. You didn't heal to hurt them. You healed to free yourself. You stopped needing their permission to feel whole. You stopped handing them the pen to write a story that was never really theirs. You're not being petty. You're not playing games. You're just done performing pain for an audience that clapped for your breakdowns but went silent during your breakthroughs. They were never ready for your power. That's why they only noticed it when you stopped giving it away. And now they see you from a distance, thriving, glowing, laughing louder, loving deeper, living better. But not with bitterness, just with boundaries. And those boundaries, they don't come with keys. Say this with me. I healed to free me. Write it in the comments right now. Say it loud. Say it proud. Show yourself. Show the world. Press that like button if you've ever chosen growth over guilt. And hit that subscribe because next, we're going all in. Let's talk about the moment they realized your silence wasn't a pause. It was the end. Stay with me. The final chapter is coming and trust me, you don't want to miss it. Number 8. It's too late. Because you finally see yourself. The moment you realize your worth, you stop asking others to calculate it. They thought they had time to play games, time to disappear and reappear, time to make you feel small until they felt ready to love you properly. But the clock ran out. And now, it's too late. Not because you slammed the door, but because you outgrew the entire building. You used to wait for their attention. Now, you barely remember what it felt like to want it. See, when self-love becomes your home, no one gets to rent your peace. You're no longer offering pieces of yourself to people who never paid in presents, only promises. And they feel that, deeply. Because regret doesn't come when you leave. It hits hardest when they realize you're not coming back. They could have had you. They did have you. But now they're background noise in a story that's moved forward. They check in, but you don't answer. They replay old messages, but your voice is gone. And the worst part? You're not angry. You're not bitter. You're just unreachable. And nothing haunts the heart like knowing you once had access to something priceless and lost it forever. Say it with me. I choose me now. Write it in the comments. Say it loud. Say it proud. If this hit your heart, press that like button. Subscribe if you're done living for those who didn't choose you. And stay with me, because your next chapter, it's going to be your best one yet.